Hello guys and welcome back. In 2006, from Church Gate to Marine Lines in Mumbai, yellow police tapes were seen everywhere. This was because within 4 months of 2006, the police had found 7 dead bodies. All were half naked. Some bodies were found on the tracks, while others were discovered on railway overbridges. Near the bodies, beer cans were often found. A serial killer was roaming freely in Mumbai, one who only attacked the poor. A serial killer who had the entire city of Mumbai terrified. So who was this man? Let's learn more about today's case, which revolves around the Mumbai beer killer. Ravindra Kathal was born at M Hospital in Fort Mumbai. His parents worked as washermen in Dhobi Talao and were living there illegally with other washermen. Given his family background and financial condition, it's easy to guess that Ravindra had neither an easy nor privileged childhood. His father wasted most of his earnings on gambling. Since they were already living illegally, one day they were evicted from their home. At that point, Ravindra's father decided to move into his wife's family home in Mahalakshmi, while Ravindra was sent to live with relatives in Pune. However, after spending a few days there, Ravindra returned to Mumbai to stay with his mother. But when he arrived at his mother's house, her relatives constantly taunted him. The emotional torment became unbearable, and Ravindra decided it was better to live on the streets than endure the humiliation. He believed that rather than being a slave in someone's home, it was better to be the king of the streets. At just 14 years old, Ravindra would sometimes stay at friends' houses and sometimes sleep on the streets. To survive, he found different ways to earn a living. One of them was extortion. Allegedly, during his teenage years, Ravindra joined the Dashrath Rain gang. His job was to collect extortion money from street vendors and illegal alcohol sellers. Because of these activities, Ravindra often spent his nights in Azad Maidan jail. When he wasn't in jail, he was usually found at a brothel on Kennedy Bridge. There, he only visited one girl, Anjali. Anjali was in her 20s and had been brought there from a village in Madhya Pradesh. Ravindra was so fond of her that he paid 25,000 to get her out of the brothel. For the first time in his life, Ravindra had found a purpose. He realized that if he wanted to live with Anjali, he couldn't continue living on the streets. So for the first time, he rented a flat and moved in with her. They got married, and soon they had a daughter, whom they named Deepa. However, Ravindra's old habits started creeping back in, the same habits that had always led him to jail. Earlier, when Ravindra used to go to jail, it didn't bother him, but the last time he was released, he made a vow to himself he would never commit a crime again. This change was influenced by someone he met in jail, a Muslim man. Through him, Ravindra learned about Islam and its teachings. Something about it resonated with him, and after being released from jail, he converted to Islam. In simpler terms, Ravindra Kathal was no more. He had now become Abdul Rahim. He had changed. He had left behind all his wrongdoings. Not only that, but he had also left Dashrath Rain's gang. After embracing a new religion, he no longer relied on crime to survive. Instead, he made a living doing small jobs like selling vada pav on the streets or helping with car repairs. At the same time, because of his previous connections with gang members, he had now become a secret informant for the police. Ravindra, now known as Abdul Rahim, had a clean record. It seemed like he was on the right path, living a crime-free and clean life. Until one day, the police suddenly picked him up. He was arrested because the police suspected that Ravindra was none other than Mumbai's infamous Beerman killer. In the last months of 2006, a strange pattern of murders had emerged in Mumbai. The killer was difficult to trace, but the only lead the Mumbai police had pointed directly at Ravindra. It all began on the morning of October 5, 2006. As the people of Mumbai were slowly stepping out of their homes, heading towards work, Marine Lines railway station was bustling as usual with the same cold air and heavy crowds. However, the real crowd wasn't at the station. It was on the bridge above it. Amidst the gathering of people lay a lifeless body. The corpse had multiple wounds on the chest, legs, and hands, but the most shocking detail, the body's lower clothing was missing. The deceased was identified as a taxi driver named Vijay Gaud. Unfortunately, despite the case being registered quickly, it was just as quickly forgotten. Exactly 20 days later, the police discovered another corpse, just a 2-minute walk from Churchgate Station. Once again, the body's lower clothing was missing. At this point, there was no apparent connection between the murders, but the list of bodies kept growing. On December 14, 2006, another body was found near the Churchgate railway station footpath. This time, there was something unusual at the crime scene, something that would give the killer his infamous name, a beer can. A few days later, a fourth body was discovered outside an IT office. Once again, a beer can was found near the body. As more bodies surfaced, the police began to notice a pattern. They weren't the only ones. Soon, the media also started referring to this unknown murderer as the Beerman killer. Then, the worst happened. On December 25, 2006, a fifth body was found. By January 2007, 3 more bodies had been discovered. The total count had now reached 8. The method of killing was almost identical, if not exactly the same. Each victim had a head injury, their lower clothing was missing, and in 2 cases, a beer can was left behind at the crime scene. However, aside from Vijay Gaud's body, none of the other victims could be easily identified. The mystery deepened. The victims came from poor backgrounds, and all of them were male. But the creepiest part was that the last corpse the police found had a note attached to it. It read, "Welcome to the clan." When the police were investigating, their sniffer dogs picked up the scent of murder in the Marine Line station bathroom. Upon searching the area, the police found a gray shirt in the bathroom. They questioned the homeless people living outside the station about the shirt. They all mentioned one name, Ravindra. On July 22, 2007, the police arrested Ravindra from Dobi Talao. When they searched him, they found a blood-stained shirt in his possession. His handwriting matched the handwriting on the note found near the corpse. Following this, the police conducted narco tests, polygraph tests, and brain mapping tests on Ravindra. During the narco test, Ravindra allegedly admitted to the police that he had committed not just these murders, but a total of 15 murders. He also admitted that he was a drug addict, and the beer cans found near the corpses were meant for the victims, not for himself. So basically, he first made the victims drink beer and then murdered them. However, when the police asked him why the victims' pants or lower garments were missing, Ravindra completely denied any allegations of sexual assault. The police were working relentlessly, but on the other hand, the media had already begun creating their own conspiracy theories about the case. When the bodies were sent for forensic examination, the reports revealed that all the victims had been sexually assaulted. This led to 3 major conspiracy theories. The killer was homosexual and targeted men. Ravindra killed these victims because they were homosexual, and he wanted to wipe out homosexuals from the city. Ravindra was collecting the victims' blood and giving it to a tantric, black magician in Marine Lines who used it for black magic rituals. These were just theories, but no matter how much the police questioned him, Ravindra consistently denied ever killing anyone. Even today, the real reason behind these deaths remains a mystery. In fact, I believe that even Ravindra himself may not know the reason, or if he was truly the killer, then only he knows the real motive. In 2007, the court imposed a fine of $20,000 on Ravindra. However, as we all know, narco tests and polygraph tests cannot be used as evidence in court. The name they have put on me, they are making me infamous with it. They say, now that he's named, it must be true. Whenever something like this happens, they call me. They say, bring him in, he has a record. Whether you're guilty or not, it doesn't matter. People talk. Even if an innocent man is released, people still say he's guilty. Even if the court declares someone innocent, they don't believe it. They say, the court may have let him go, but we didn't. Even today, the truth remains unknown. It is still unclear whether Ravindra or Abdul Rahim was the Beerman killer. However, one thing is certain. When Ravindra was arrested, the murders following the same pattern stopped. Now, Abdul Rahim, aka Ravindra, is living a normal life after being released from prison. He has cut his beard and hair to avoid recognition. He sells sandwiches on the street with a friend. His dream is to open a small restaurant where he can serve sandwiches and live a normal life with his wife and daughter. But one thing is for sure, if Ravindra is telling the truth and he did not commit those murders, then the real Beerman killer is still roaming free among us today. With that, this case comes to an end as no further legal proceedings were carried out. Now, I just want to mention one more thing. While researching this case, I came across a post, not an article, that claimed Ravindra's lawyer played a crucial role in securing his release. According to this post, the evidence against Ravindra was fabricated. I cannot confirm whether this is true or not, as I was not present during that time, and there is no article to back up this claim. However, Ravindra's lawyers argued that when he was in jail, murders with a similar pattern still occurred. They used this to support their claim that Ravindra could not be the Beerman killer. Ultimately, this argument contributed to his release. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. If I find any credible sources, I will add the link in the video description. But this is a very strange theory. When you search for why was Ravindra released, the same theory appears, but without any solid evidence to support it. So I cannot say for sure. Still, I didn't want to leave this detail out, so you all have some reference on how he might have been released. With that, this case officially concludes. Before you go, guys, if you enjoy true crime documentaries, please subscribe to my channel. With that, I hope you all are happy and healthy. Please keep your loved ones close, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.